We officially got notice of our the U.S. Patent Trademark Office registering Utopia. We got it today. I was like, on Earth Day. So yeah, so we have Utopia, the logo, we have Utopia, the word, and then we have Utopia Plastics, all in the different applications of agriculture in plastic applications.
Congratulations.
We are good. We are good to go and live.
Okay. All right. Well, for everyone that's joining us, I'm like wearing my mom hat right now, but I would not miss the opportunity, despite being at the baseball fields, to introduce one of my new friends and someone I admire very much, Sharina Perry. I actually discovered her and Utopia Plastics through a journal record article. I don't know if I told you that, Miss Perry, and reached out to her, just a cold email, to see if she would speak to my students. But once I learned about her amazing products, I decided that we need to share it with the city, and Earth Day is the perfect day to do that. Y'all know how I feel about plastic waste. We are one of the few states, unfortunately, that hasn't banned plastic waste. We have legislatively protected plastic waste, everything from plastic bags to auxiliary containers. So the kind of inventive products that Ms. Perry and Utopia Plastics have created will be a game changer for those who are really invested in creating sustainable business models that don't add to the massive amount of plastic waste currently bringing down our environment and affecting climate change. So I'm so excited to introduce Ms. Sharina Perry, who since 2018 has been working on Utopia Plastics. And we found out today it is no longer patent pending, it is hers. And so, Ms. Perry, thank you so much for joining us on Earth Day. I'm excited to record your session. We'll make sure it gets shared widely. All businesses and restaurants need to know about the special kind of plastic that you've created. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Thank you so much for having me, and it's been a great journey with you. And I'm excited to share it with the Norman residents and just tell my story. So without
further ado, I'll get started. So everyone, as Mayor Clark said, my name is Sharina Perry, and I am the founder and inventor of Utopia Plastics. What I'm going to do today is share with you our journey on how we arrived here, but most importantly, as we look at this issue of climate, as the issue of challenges that are facing our planet right now, the biggest thing people wonder is, what can they do? This week, I'm concluding my advanced certification from Cambridge Judge University in sustainability and circular economics. That, to be able to be certified to really help businesses and help the community learn about sustainability and what we can do individually. We all can take part in some type of way. For Utopia Plastics, we did it in our model, and we also did it in the products we intentionally chose to create. So if you all will give me a moment, I'm going to share my screen and share with you our journey. All right, so I will give a rewind. I started, if some have seen our story on the news, our story really started with my studying plant matter as an alternative to, my nephew was diagnosed with neurofibromatosis 2, which is an incurable growth of tumors. So when he was in surgery, my sister said, Sharina, you have to do something. And that led me to studying plant matter. I was able to develop a health and wellness line, and that product used hemp in the creation of the products. Well, fast forward to studying the products, studying hemp as an option, I had also learned that there were other applications and processes that plant material could be used in. In fact, there had been studies that indicated that it could be used as an alternative to petroleum, cotton, and wood. One day I was at McNeely's in Midtown, and I received a paper straw. And right before that, Starbucks had announced their initiative to do away with single-use plastics. They had a goal to, or their intention was to find a company that would come up with a solution, and they were willing to pay them $10 million. Of course, that was reason to work at doing something. So what I did was that day at McNeely's, I sat there and I watched in my clear glass as particles began to float. And then I thought, this can't be the solution to plastics. Not only would we be now moving to paper, but we would be cutting down trees, going against the very thing that we're trying to solve, this issue of climate. So we remove plastic waste, but we create another problem by cutting down trees. So my study of plant matter led me to think, well, why not try to come up with an alternative source of material? And that was in hemp at that time. So what I did in my kitchen is I developed a hemp paper straw. Much to my surprise, after I coated the straw in beeswax, I placed it in a cold glass. And in that glass, the straw actually hardened. Well, that was extremely surprising to me. So if it reacted that way to cold, I knew that it must have a reaction to hot. So I went over to the pot that I had been boiling the beeswax, and the temperature got up to 340 degrees, and it didn't break down. So I knew we had something. Well, there was a company interviewed in the article that talked about Starbucks doing away with single-use plastics. We were able to put the package you see in the lower corner in front of that company. They loved it, and they said if we could commercialize it, we really had something. So here's what we did next. We reached out to the company that made that paper straw that McNeely's was selling. And that was Aardvark, who had been acquired by Hofmaster in August of 2018. And essentially the conversation went like this. If we could develop an alternative for the wood paper, would you all, if we had the pulp created and made the paper, would you all turn it into straws in manufacturing and then run the testing on it? They agreed. So fast forward, and we were able to produce the first hemp straw. Now at that time, when I made my straw at home, we used 100% hemp. When we made this straw, we used 25% hemp. The goal was to find out at what point you could add plant material to wood and create a stronger product. So these straws were made with a 25% hemp and then a 75% wood pulp. And they did test to be stronger. This was also for the purposes of cost, comparing wood to hemp, the way the market was operating. But we ran into challenges. When we reached out to the FDA essentially said that give us a certainty that the use of hemp in a food contact item would not have any cannabinoid or THC profile. So that would take a significant amount of clinical trials because that would require actual lab and studies and over a period of time, and also involve testing multiple strains of hemp. So then what we did was it caused us to really look at how do we not only, what do we do now? So the issue of sustainability, companies removing single-use plastics and initiatives to reduce emissions led to a series of questions that remained on the forefront of what we were doing. How do we solve this problem without creating another one? How do we make a global impact? How do we keep employees of manufacturers in jobs? Because what if I'm a company that my manufacturing facility only makes straws? I only have two choices at that point: modify my equipment or lay off my employees, or find an alternative product or material. How do we avoid having manufacturers spend large amounts of money modifying their equipment? How do we slow global warming? How do we save marine life? How do we save the trees? How do we make consumers conscious, but not totally change consumer habits? I happen to be a straw chewer. Chewing a paper straw isn't quite ideal. But how do we use our most valuable resource, our land? How do we help the economy and local communities? And how do we use my vision of a utopia to create a sustainable ecosystem? That was a lot of questions to ask, but they remained in our forefront. They remain what drove us in our vision, hence developing what we call the Utopia Model. And that required really intentionally paying attention to the process that gets our plant material to product. By the way, we shifted from hemp because we realized through their study there were other crops that were USDA approved that performed greater than or better than and had a greater yield than hemp that were already USDA approved, so we wouldn't have the same regulations. We developed a circular model. The model would include farming, processing, manufacturing, and distribution. And that meant we established companies in the process. Eden Grow, our company, handles the farming element. Utopia Solutions handles our processing and manufacturing. And Utopia Genetics, DBA Utopia Brands, handles the distribution. In that lane, now we have a material that can be used in all facets. So food packaging, building material, household goods, and agricultural products. Now let's talk about each of the companies. Eden Grow, the role of it being farming, the average crop yield is 75 pounds per acre. Minimum we pay to farmers is 10 cents per pound. How does this help the economy? Well, this typically in our model will pay a farmer 40% or greater over traditional crop payments because now there are end products with enough value in the marketplace to sustain it. The environmental benefits of the crops we use to make Utopia Plastics: the crops absorb CO2 from the atmosphere more than any other crop. About 1.5 tons of CO2 is needed for production of 1 ton of dry matter. Every hectare consumes 30 to 40 tons of CO2 for each growing cycle. During a single growing cycle, each hectare consumes the amount of CO2 that exhausts from 20 cars in a whole year. No chemical pest control is needed. Neither toxic nor synthetic products should be applied during a growing cycle, hence benefiting the ecosystem. Our crops remove toxic elements, such as heavy metals from the soil. Industrial products made with Utopia Plastics can be recycled. And that's a very important aspect for the automotive and construction industries. Crops can also be applied as soil remediation. The other process is our Utopia Solutions, which handles our processing down to our compounded resins. So what you see here is our facility in Louisville, Kentucky. If you look there in the picture, you'll see Senator Mitch McConnell. Most may know he is from Kentucky. He's in the picture, and that is actually inside the facility right before Mitch McConnell prepared to sign the Farm Bill 2018. Now, the actual pen that was used to sign the Farm Bill was
was created from material in this facility. So here we have a separating of our material. We mill, we blend, we pulp, we dry, and we bag. And then it goes to our compounded resin. From there, pardon me. From there, now let's talk about when it comes to a resin. So Utopia Plastics is biodegradable in certain applications. It's recyclable, 100% recyclable, reusable, and it also is natural compostable and will not disrupt the current recycle chain. Pardon me, my computer is freezing. 1 second. Won't disrupt the current recycle chain. We are currently in commercial distribution as well as make products. What you see in the upper left-hand corner is our material that has been recycled 4 times. What you see in the bottom left-hand is our traditional resins that might be used to make perhaps a cup, the liner in an automobile, a bumper. It would also be used to make pharmaceutical containers, anything in an injection mold and extrusion with a thin wall as well, also straws. What you see on the lower right-hand side is our material that is traditionally used in blow molding and film applications. What you see in the upper right is a specific science that we developed because we didn't come here to beat up on plastic. We couldn't really be a solution if we weren't addressing the problems around us. So for certain companies that are larger plastic manufacturers, we'd like to help them create sustainable solutions for their business. So we license our material to add to their products to help make them eco-friendly. What you see here is products made with Utopia Plastics. From whether it's your bags, so we have to-go bags, we have what would be your traditional laundry bags like you would see in a hotel. We also have t-shirt bags, straws, containers, film, whatever it may be, any current application that traditional polypropylene or polyethylene polymers would be used in, you can make it with Utopia Plastics. In the bottom corner is Representative Ty Burns, who we're working with him to also develop an eco product and solution. And we're proud to be able to do that. What you see in the very bottom is our Made with Utopia Plastics seal. We want consumers as well as businesses that use Utopia Plastics to know that they're getting the quality that we wanted to create. To also know that by their intentional choice to use materials made with Utopia Plastics, you've joined us on this journey to use farming as an alternative. By using farming, we stimulate economic growth. And the more companies that come in, the more businesses that decide we're going to use sustainable material, the more opportunity you create for individuals or farmers in your community. How do we do it? We have a great team of individuals that work alongside me from different backgrounds and different nationalities with different skill sets. And we have from business owners to attorneys to software engineers to chemists to franchisee owners to branding people to human resources, from the oil and gas industry to marketing to food packaging and distribution. We have a great team of dynamic individuals that help work to get this done. And I am grateful that they asked to join us on the journey to Utopia. And our family continues to grow, as well as the family of our clients.
Sharina, thank you so much for presenting tonight. This is a great solution to a sustainable product for plastics. I also want to mention that this will be on YouTube, and anybody can watch this so we can all share. It's exciting. I'd like to see products like this more often.
We are excited. We are excited, and thank you, Debbie. And I wanted to share too, people can find us at our website, www.utopiaplastics.com. They can also reach us, our phone number, 1-866-988-6742. But also click the info tab from our website. Feel free to send us an email. Our team of individuals will respond back, whether it's to place an order. We have distributors that distribute our products made with Utopia Plastics, and we would love to help the city of Norman fully address the issue of their plastic waste.
Yeah, and you did mention something earlier about the actions that individuals can take. Do you have that list with you that you would want to share? Or
I sure can. Let me pull that up for you.
These are great ideas for Earth Day. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No worries. I'm going to do a screen share and pull that up.
Okay.
At Utopia, like I said, we feel like sometimes that people have a desire to do something, but they really don't know what exactly they can do. Or sometimes the problem seems so big that you don't know, and that makes us kind of numb and we don't move. So what we did is we want to encourage everyone to try to do these 21 things in 2021 to help solve the issue of climate. We understand that large packagers are a contributor, large corporations, we understand that they are a contributor to the climate crisis. But we also want to let you know they understand too. And there are companies out there. So here are some things you can intentionally do. Use LED light bulbs. Bring your own bottle or mug. Walk or bike somewhere you would normally drive. Turn off the lights when you're not in the room. Adjust the thermostat a couple of degrees. Cut personal food waste. Use slower shipping methods when purchasing online. Use eco-friendly packaging. We say use Utopia Plastics, but there are others. Use personal care items with less chemical additives. Buy from companies with sustainable initiatives. And often, if it's a product that you use regularly, visit that company's website and look for what they are doing as far as sustainability. And sustainability goes far beyond just the use of the products. It also goes into how do they feel about people, planet, and profits? What are their initiatives, diversity and inclusion? What have they done to protect the environment? Are they a company totally centered around linear economics of taking our natural resources, using them, and then creating waste? We want companies that are avoiding those practices. Use cool water when washing clothes. Unplug appliances when not in use. Plant something to attract pollinators. Reduce unnecessary water use. Vote on climate bills. Read up on climate issues. Use recycle bins. Support renewable energy. Talk to friends and family about climate change. And think of creative ways to make a difference and actually act on them. And take regular walks to connect with your natural environment. And we encourage you to do that. It's still daylight. Maybe you can take a walk this evening on Earth Day.
Excuse me, we do have a question. Maybe you can help them. It's, can Utopia Plastics be used in landfills to help speed up degradation?
In fact, because Utopia Plastics is a bio product, it does naturally break down. I will say honestly, we try to avoid using the word biodegradable because essentially everything will break down in a certain period of time. But we're very intentional about what we do. We want a bag, whether it's on the top of the landfill, the middle of the landfill, or the bottom of the landfill. We want to know when it's breaking down. So what we do is we add an oxo additive that controls the breakdown time. And that's 180 days is what we have set. We can adjust that by how much material, how much additive we put in it. And what that does is when that breaks down, you have our natural plant material left, which you saw some of the properties of the plant material, and natural bacteria. What regulation has centered around removing the use of oxo additives is in traditional plastics, where when it breaks down, you have a microplastics. You don't have microplastics left with our material.
That's great. Does anybody else have a question they want to put on chat for us? Well, thank you, Sharina. And I want to make sure that everybody knows this will be on the City of Norman's YouTube channel. Please share. It's exciting and it's local. And if anybody has any questions, you may contact Sharina. And do you have your phone number available or website available you could share? And we will just let everybody go enjoy outside.
Yes, and I will put that in the chat right now. I'll put in our website. Again, it's www.Utopia Plastics, and that is with an X, Utopia, UTOPIA, PLASTIX.com. And then our phone number is 1-866-988-6742.
Thank you very much. And I hope everybody has a great evening.
Thank you.